Hey gamers, what's going on? This video is a hero breakdown for Zenyatta, a support character in Overwatch 2. I have a ton of hours on Zenyatta dating back to the first few months of Overwatch 1's release, playing him pretty consistently through Overwatch 2. I will cover the basics in this video of Zenyatta's abilities within the first 6 minutes of the video. If you choose to stick around for the rest of the video, I'm going to do a deep dive on the hero, counter picks, what counters Zen, and map dependencies and really what's going to benefit Zen on certain maps, the best tips to min-max the hero's potential. If you enjoy this video after watching, I would really appreciate it if you guys can hit the like button. That would help me to grow the channel. If you decide to subscribe to the channel, there will be future content for other hero breakdowns as well. You can follow me below for live gaming content. I mostly stream on Twitch. That's my main platform. I do have the Twitter, and I'm also on TikTok as well. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's start off with hero abilities for Zenyatta. Starting from right to left, we have Orb of Destruction, Orb of Harmony, Orb of Discord, and last but not least, the ultimate ability, Transcendence. Orb of Destruction is Zenyatta's primary fire. Each orb does 48 damage, not including headshot damage, which it does have potential of doing. Zenyatta's secondary fire is a volley of Orb of Destruction, which can be charged up to fire off 5 Orbs of Destruction. When combined with the Discord ability that I'll talk about in a minute, Orb of Destruction volley has the damage potential of up to 654 damage when landing all headshots on a discorded target that has no armor, like for example a Roadhog. Just looking at this data, Zenyatta as a support character has an insane damage output potential. Zenyatta's first ability is the Orb of Harmony. This is Zenyatta's primary form of healing. This can be placed on a teammate by looking at them and using the left shift ability if you're on PC. This ability does 30 healing per second, and you must remain in line of sight of your teammate. If your line of sight gets cut off by either you or the teammate, the orb will actually stay on them for about 3 seconds before disconnecting. 30 heals per second does categorize Zenyatta as a secondary support character, meaning he does not have potential to heal an entire team with bursts of healing. However, the real benefit of this orb is the fact that it has a 40-meter range to be attached to one of your teammates, making this very useful to toss this on, like, let's say, a Tracer, Genji, Sombra, or even Pharah, who's in the enemy back line, and it will stick with them as long as the Zenyatta is capable of maintaining line of sight. I highly suggest prioritizing one of your flanking teammates with this orb, and obviously swapping it over accordingly if somebody else is in critical HP. The next ability is Discord, which is Zenyatta's second ability. No, I am not talking about the social media platform where gamers get together to hang out and voice chat and post memes. However, they do share the same name. I am speaking about a ability called Discord, which targets the enemy player on the other team using the E ability if you're on PC. Discord does do a damage buff to the enemy, which your entire team can utilize this damage buff. The damage received from this buff is a 25% increased damage from anyone on your team. Discord does require a bit of team coordination. A good Zenyatta player should consider being in voice chat. I have to comment on how frustrated our Roadhog is against the enemy Ana here.
Ana. Let's leave.
You know the enemy Ana is doing a good job when your Roadhog has to chime into voice chat for the first time all match, just to be like, Ana, focus this Ana here. This was too funny to not say something about this. Where was I? Oh yeah, Discord. Having good Discord callouts, this could shortly turn a fight into a 5v4 situation once you and your team are able to focus down the discorded target. Next, we have Zenyatta's ultimate ability, Transcendence. Transcendence does 300 healing per second on your entire team that are within range of it. The range is about 10 meters wide, and it does also speed up Zenyatta's movement. Transcendence duration is 6 seconds, almost long enough to counter most of the ults in the game, like Sigma's ultimate ability Flux or even Genji Dragon Blade. Transcendence should be reserved for trying to counter ultimate abilities. However, later on in the video, I will go over some tips and tricks on different situations where you can use Transcend. Zenyatta has two passive abilities, the first being the same as all the other supports. That's just passive automatic healing over time. When not taking a few seconds of damage, they begin regenerating. The second passive ability being Zenyatta's Snap Kick. This was actually added fairly close to the launch of Overwatch 2. This Snap Kick does 45 damage and has a 50% knockback. This is super big against like flanking characters, for example, or even an enemy tank like Winston diving you. You have potential to kick him out of his protective shield bubble. I find this kick super useful. One interesting fact about Zenyatta is that he has almost no cooldowns other than waiting to build your ultimate. Taking that into consideration, he's definitely a character that you don't spend a lot of time sitting around and waiting on things. You can really just hustle in there and get into the action. That wraps up the 6-minute hero breakdown for the basic abilities. If you plan to stay tuned for the rest of the video, I am going to do a deep dive in things like counter picks, map strategies, and which maps, pros and cons that this hero is playable on. So without further ado, let's get into it. The first and most important big tip for Zenyatta is play long range. Zenyatta excels at long range on long range maps. You have a primary fire orb that has 0 fall off damage, so meaning no matter how far away you throw this orb, if you land your shot, it does devastating damage from long distances. It's excellent. And then to add to that, play back behind your team. Worry about flankers and that kind of thing later on. You should never be frontlining on Zenyatta. He has a very wide hitbox. You will get instantly gunned down if you try and play the front line. To follow up with that, another big tip is try and make sure you always have your healing orb on a teammate. Primary reason for this is if you don't have the healing orb on a teammate, most likely somebody on the team needs one. Another thing is you're not building your ultimate very much without having a healing orb on somebody, whether it's a tank, even if they're missing like 15 or 20 HP. You do get a decent amount of ult generation off of damage. However, healing is Zenyatta's primary form of building his ult charge. To follow up with the healing orb, you always want to make sure your Discord orb is applied to an enemy. Primary focus would most likely be on a target that's out of place that your entire enemy team can focus down together. Again, coordination is very important when it comes to using the Discord orb. The other thing being maybe we want to Discord a flanker that is going to pose as a threat to you personally. This will really help you to take out like a Tracer or a Genji in just a couple of hits when they have the Discord orb applied to them. I think another helpful tip for new Zen players would be to let people know when you Discord a target, you do see the Discord icon above their head and can track them through walls for the duration of the time that Discord lasts, even when breaking line of sight. This is definitely useful for maybe going around a corner, charging up a right click or a secondary fire volley. You can time it so perfectly that when you come out from around the corner, you can normally just line up a nice headshot on them because you know where they are due to the Discord icon. And a lot of times you're going to end up with a kill just from peeking a corner like that. Let's talk about counters. I think it's safe to say the biggest counters for Zenyatta are the flanker characters. Tracer, Genji, Sombra, those types of characters. I've actually categorized them as Zenyatta's top tier biggest counter. Along with Lucio, who can actually flank Zenyatta's, kind of dance around their head and get a lot of kills on them. Bastion, primarily because of Bastion's ultimate ability. It's hard for Zenyatta to actually get out of Bastion ult. And then we've got Doomfist, who a really good Doomfist can definitely harass even a good Zenyatta player. Following what I think is Zenyatta's biggest counters, we do have some in-between counters. Of course, most notably, we've got Wrecking Ball. If they land a nice slam on you, can most likely finish you off pretty quickly. Of course, Sojourn, who is, in my opinion, a very overtuned character. It's an easy kill for her, even if you're in the back line. Widowmaker is kind of a 50-50 toss-up. If you get really good at landing Zenyatta headshots from long range, you can actually kill a Widowmaker in just a short volley of orbs. However, you are a large target for Widow. That's going to be a tough counter. Then there's the Reaper guy. Reaper is a very good flanking character. However, as Zenyatta with a nice timed Discord shot can be pretty devastating to Reaper's large hitbox. You'll find that Zen does a nice job countering characters, specifically shown in this as Orisa, Roadhog, and Junker Queen, who happen to be all 3 tanks. Reason being, those tanks do not have a way of shielding themselves, and they can get focused down really hard when Zenyatta places a Discord orb on them all game, and Zenyatta's team just constantly beams them down with damage. Another reason that I put Torbjorn in the bottom here as someone being countered by Zenyatta, it's very easy to kill Torbjorn turrets from long range Zenyatta, as he's typically kind of known as like a projectile sniper hero. And not to mention, Torbjorn has a pretty large hitbox. You can usually kill him in just a couple of orb shots when you have a Discord on Torbjorn. Zenyatta synergizes well with main healers, most notably Ana, Moira, Baptiste. That being said, you can still make it work with like a Lucio, Mercy, Brigitte, Kiriko as well. Usually you can make that work. It really depends on the enemy team's healing output. One of the primary reasons that your team might even want a Zenyatta is because you can have the Discord ability, call it out, add some extra damage to your team composition. As far as maps pros and cons goes, Zenyatta does exceptionally well on long range maps, like most notably Colosseo, New Queen Street as far as the new push maps go. And then other maps like Junkertown, Havana, Blizzard World, Eichenwald, etc. Zenyatta does really well. I would say Midtown is quite possibly one of the best Zenyatta maps in Overwatch 2. I mostly suggest avoiding playing Zenyatta in a lot of the control point maps. Any map where you're in really close range, proximity, Zenyatta is going to get focused down as one of the first targets for the enemy team. I wanted to touch on when to use Transcendence. Primarily, you want to use Transcendence to save your team. Let's say you see 2 or 3 teammates in critical health situations. Popping Transcendence, especially if you're nearby, may just save their lives. Another reason to use Transcendence would be to initiate a fight. This is probably the least common reason to use Transcendence, but sometimes it's best to just use Transcendence, initiate the fight, go in there with your team. They're almost invulnerable when you do that, and usually you guys can try to pull 1, 2, 3 kills maybe during the duration of Transcendence. The biggest do not for Transcendence is using it to save yourself. If you're about to get killed and you have your Transcendence ready, it's usually best just to reset in the spawn and not use Transcendence, because it may actually be required in a later fight. For example, let's say it's the Genji that's flanking on you and focusing you. You use the Transcendence. Next fight, the Genji most likely has their blade. You no longer have the Transcendence ability to counter their blade. Tough situation to be in. That's pretty much all I got for y'all. If you do have any questions, you know where to find me from the links in the beginning of the video, and I will also be pasting them on the bottom of this video. I can't wait to do more of these videos. It was a lot of fun making this. Again, if you enjoyed this and this was actually beneficial to you, would love to hear about it in the comments below. Also, don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to subscribe to the channel for future content, and I hope to see all of you in the battlefield.